All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of our Sunday Night Live show. And Steve is working on something right now. He's not his setup, but he's working on something. And he will be right with us, hopefully. If he didn't fall down, that is. Yep, there he comes. All
You
right.
know I can hear you. I
You
don't need my
what?
lights on.
What you got going on? So that's it. And I can't remember. I keep forgetting what episode. Are we 192,
192.
193? Okay. I knew it was 190 ish. So, yeah. So there we go. So what's been going on with you this week, Steve? I know you've had an eventful turn of events and just surprises. Like everywhere you look, surprises.
Yeah, it's been a week. Work has just kind of been work. So yeah, we've had some things get accelerated, and it's kind of changing some of my fall plans.
Would you
Um,
like to share with the class or?
well, it was kind of so yeah. Normally our fall semester startup is just a very busy time of the year anyway, but I was rolling the dice that things would be smooth and I'd still be able to get away. But we're also going through a very large system wide project that has a lot of dependencies on it, and so part of this is a very big push and rush to get our identity access management whole system completely reworked. And it was decided that our school would be an early adopter. Um,
Mm.
on top of just the chaos of fall semester startup and some other people needing to be
Yeah, I mean,
out
'cause
and such.
what better time to roll out a big project that could screw up everything than the first couple of weeks
Well,
of school?
it's not that the project itself is rolling out, but we have to do some pre-work for it and such. And yeah,
Yeah.
so um, I'm having to cancel my plans to the Texas event,
Mm. Sad.
the next level maker event. I was kind of hoping nothing else would fall, but yeah, it's going to hold me back home for that. So unfortunately, I'm going to miss out hanging out with you and seeing a bunch of people. But hopefully we'll get some good reporting back from that.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it. I I also just didn't get a lot done in the shop. I did get the IKEA Master tumbler testing done and dropped that video this morning. So did feel good to have a little bit of a win this morning and yesterday. It did pretty well. Here's one of the last ones I did on white, looking
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
nice and
White's a
shiny.
booger bear with a blue laser. So, yeah.
Right, yeah. So I did purple, I did like the seafoam green and such, and then basically all the same settings. I was still kind of dialing in the settings, but finding between 300 400 millimeters a second and about 50 to 60% power is at least for uh this brand of tumblers was kind of the sweet spot with a little bit of cleanup, kind of spraying it
Yeah.
with some LA Awesome and then a little bit of a wipe down. But yeah, it worked well in light burn. So that's good for people who don't want to muck with um uh everyone's got their own flavor of their own software. Not everybody, a lot of people like to use Lightburn. And so it's nice that it was pretty straightforward to get it working in there. The chuck rotary worked. Now I haven't tested it with a larger, like 30 or ounce or bigger tumbler. That you'd have to twist it around, lift it up, and my one concern there is how much room you have to move it over, so that platform that sticks out the back now has room and such. But Might be a follow-up later to see, but as of this point, I can say it isn't too difficult to do tumblers with the IKEA Masters, benchtop CO2. Um, so if people were looking at that as something they were concerned about, I can
Yeah.
say I was able to get some pretty easy results with it. I did show in that video, they don't really have a good way to align the chuck, and no one ever really does. I mean, X Tool tried with the P3 with the pins and um, some lines, and you've made jigs for things and
Yeah.
such. Um,
We Create did a pretty decent job with their little screws and
yeah,
things.
I suppose we create and also Rolly
Rolling.
automation with the bolting in, but when you do that, you also then get hindered by sometimes the placement is wrong or tumblers are
Yeah.
too big or you can't necessarily always tilt it, things like that. Um, so there's always a give and take with that. But so that's one caveat to this. But I simply etched on the existing crumb tray and then butted that up to the frame to kind of square it up, and that seemed to get it in alignment visually. It's
Yeah.
not going to hold it there. You still could bump it out, but it's a
Yeah.
visual
Well, I mean,
guide to
you
do
could
it.
get you a couple of strips of 100-mile-an-hour duct tape and
Yeah, but
help keep it in place. Or if you're really dedicated, I mean, you could come up with some kind of brackets or something in there.
yeah, if you're going to do a lot of it, you definitely could come up with something. But for kind of a short reference for a
Yeah.
one off or two off, it seemed to get it at least close enough. I ran the positioning laser along, and it seemed to be in line with the center point of it. And so yeah, I got that done and out there for people. I know that was kind of one of the big questions we've had on a lot of the desktop CO2 lasers is how well does it work with a chuck rotary, and how well. So this one does require you to use their R8 rotary because it has this whole USB interface. I'm sure if you wanted to, you could probably hack a USB cable to a standard one if you really wanted to. But if
Yeah.
you're looking for something that works without having to go third party and edit, or make adapters and such, it's an option. And like I say, it wasn't too difficult to get it set up in Lightburn either. So for someone wanting to get going with that without a lot of hassle, it's definitely an option that could happen. So
Yeah, like I said, that kind of sets it apart, in my opinion. Being able to work with a chuck like that kind of sets it apart from a lot of your more budget friendly options that you have. Like the Reno 45, I like the machine. The machine's fast. It has all the stuff. It's simplistic, but that controller, like I said, it's a little limited in that it wouldn't work properly with the chuck.
yeah,
So that is definitely a plus when you're looking at some of the lower budget friendly options with the CO2 range.
yeah. And right now, my discount code Vintari Masters still does get you $300 off of it. So
Yeah, is the master, is that referenced in the machine, or is that referenced in Ventari? Because I may have to dispute that.
I'll let you take it how you want, but I'm pretty sure it's because it's only valid on that machine as far as I know.
Oh,
So
okay. So maybe it's referenced in the
um,
machine and not, I was
yeah.
kept waiting on you to throw that arm up and be like, I have the power.
Yes, okay. Showing your 80s there, David. Um,
It happens.
but so yeah, I kind of feel like shop wise, I just haven't. I did while I was editing that video last night. I did print out a little chunkable R2D2, and so I posted that on my Facebook page. Needed something fun just to break up the week, but yeah, we've got new student orientations happening this next week. We got faculty coming back the next week, so I'm kind of into this whole rush season. I just need to kind of put my head down, kind of get through it, and then hopefully we get past Labor Day here, and I'll
Yeah.
hopefully be feeling a little less pressure and get back into the groove of some stuff. But yeah,
Mm.
I don't know. I feel like that's kind of all. The week's gone. I don't know. I don't have much to say for it.
So just kind of flew by with you, huh?
Yeah.
It happens. It happens. I see a
Oh,
lot of the usual suspects over in the chat over there.
and
So
my friend Jiminy's back in the shop.
you got the cricket orchestra over there playing for you.
There's one. I've been looking for him. I've been pulling things out. I've been running the shop back around. I'm like, listen, I know you're good for the environment, but not in my shop. So,
they make sprays for that.
yeah, but you know how well insulated my shop is.
Yeah, a little dab will do you. Maybe you should just put some like on the threshold of the door, because I'm sure he came in when the door was open. He like scurried in real quick, or either
Well,
maybe he come under the garage door.
he's actually over by the garage doors right now, and that's kind of my next step. Is I got to clear things out of the way so I can lift those up and see which one he's hiding under. Because, yeah.
What was it? It was like, was it 2 years ago where you had a cricket living in there for like
Yeah.
months? Like
Yeah.
every video you made for a good 2 or 3 months, there was crickets in the background.
Yeah, definitely.
It was funny.
But yeah, and the thing that I was fixing, after I got the tumbler stuff done with the IKEA, I've been wanting to do some playing with both the Polar Light and the Polar 2 RF, because I now have a couple of rotary options for those I wanted to try. And so I got the RF wheeled over here, was hooking it up to the computer. This was like an hour ago, thinking, hey, maybe I could run a quick test before the live and be able to say, hey, guess what? It looks like it might work. Plug everything in and nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I was chasing down wiring, and I've had a good run, but one thing you sometimes have to do on these lasers, that especially ones that are take the rocky trip across the sea and then freight to your house, the actual connectors for the power plug assembly were loose, and so they weren't making connection. Luckily, I got back in there and got them tightened down, and it looks to be my only problem. But it's never fun. Kind of sometimes you do need to go through these things and just kind of tighten things down.
Yeah, your power cable at least was probably a Friday job.
Yeah.
Or Monday. You don't want
I'm
nothing
glad it
made
wasn't
on Monday or Friday.
I'm hoping that's kind of the last of the weird quirks, and we'll see if I can get some testing done with that here. And I queuing up some projects for the CNC machine as well. Hopefully I can have a little bit of creativity and fun in the shop here between chaos. So
yeah, Brian wants to know if you took a nap. He said he was almost late because he was napping.
No, but I did let myself sleep in a little bit this morning because I was been tired. So,
and of course, Tom Cleveland says he's ready for next level. It looks like I'm flying solo at next level. Well, not quite solo. My mom is actually gonna make the trip with me, and she's got her a room and everything, and so she's gonna be hanging out some. I don't know how much she's gonna want to be at the event, but this will be. And I got talking to Brandy about it. I'm like, I think this is gonna be the furthest trip I've ever taken with my mom. Like in all 52 years, me and her have never traveled 10 hours away together. So even when I was a kid, our vacations were limited to like 4-hour drives for the most part. Because, back then you definitely did not want to be stuck in the car with kids for more than about 4 hours. Because, we were all up on the dash of the station wagon and all that. So it's going to be an interesting, fun time. So I hate that you're not going to make it, but, priorities, especially when you're still part of the working folks and you don't have that monthly compensation coming in, you got to do what you got to do. So maybe one day you two can be a member of the Mailbox Money Club, which it technically don't come in the mailbox no more, but they still call it that.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, been yeah. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Nightboard says he's about to touch some semi-sketchy Amazon PU leather bookmarks. One is black. I suspect it'll stay black when engraved.
So just to pile on for my day,
Oh, the
I had
icing.
that Amazon reminded me. So, um, this design is actually something that someone had requested a custom design for some gifts. I thought, hey, this is a good time to test it. I've got some of these, but I need to order some specific colors for them. And uh, Amazon had them, and I only needed one of a couple of colors. So I was like, okay, I'll just order those. And you know how they do it, things just kind of come when they come. Well, I one arrived yesterday, no problem. And you know, Amazon Flex and more, or Amazon and more places are using their Amazon Flex, which is their gig worker people that go as private contractors. They pick up your mail in their personal vehicle. They're given a route and they come deliver them. Well, I get the little Amazon notification like, "Hey, your package has been delivered." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I go upstairs and I'm like looking outside on the porch and the mailbox and such. I'm
It's
like,
like an Easter egg hunt.
so I go to my wife. I'm like, "Did you pull this thing up?" And she's like, "No, I haven't." I'm like, so I go and look at the photo and I'm like, "Huh, that's not my front door."
Did
So
you
I get on
check
the
the
app.
immediate area?
Well, so I go on their app and they say, you know, did you have a was the delivery good? No. What was the problem? It wasn't delivered. And it opens up a chatbot thing and they're like, "Oh, we're sorry. How can we help you?" I'm like, "My package wasn't delivered." Well, was it partially delivered? Was there no package? You know, they jump through all these questions. And I finally like, no, the picture was not my house. It was delivered to some other place. Okay, well, we can't help you with that until like a day or two later. Have you looked at your neighbors to see if they received it? I'm like, no. I mean, I obviously looked to see if it looked like any of my neighbor's door, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's not my job, Amazon. Your job is to either contract
Yeah.
with a competent company or your own employees to deliver it. But now I have to wait even longer instead of them with their, you know, massive amounts of technology to say, "Hey, customer reports it wasn't delivered. Go back and check your last delivery," you know, whoever.
Yeah.
And now someone just went, "Yay, I got a free blank tumbler," and they're going to have to ship something else out to me that's probably going to take a week.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was FedEx or Amazon or who it was, but I had ordered something and it didn't, same situation. It didn't get delivered. And they're like, one of those little questions is like, can you take a picture of the package and attach it? And I'm like,
Oh, it wasn't here.
no, my previous text says it was not delivered. So I just snapped a picture of like the floor and attached it. I'm like, just to,
Yeah.
so I can move to the next question or whatever. Yeah, there's some things that if they're going to use AI or robots for, they need to do a little better job of training the punch list.
Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, they've got the technology. They could easily look at the delivery report, compare all the photos of the
I'm sure
things we
that
get on a
person's
near.
using an app too that probably has the metadata, probably has the GPS location on there.
Well, and I know even the postal service, when they scan the package, it takes a GPS reading, and if it's not within a reasonable distance from the delivery address, it'll say, "Yeah, no."
Yeah, keep
So,
trying.
so yeah, I don't know. The thing that just got me is that I know Amazon will make it right, but they're going to make me wait a day or two to be sure it's lost. I'm like, you have
Yeah,
photographic evidence that you delivered it to the wrong place, and I'm pretty sure you've got GPS evidence that wherever they tagged it and took that photo was at the wrong place. So,
yeah.
ugh.
Mm.
Yeah, great day.
It happens. Yeah, we have a. See, I live out in the country, all right, and we don't just have random people pulling up in our driveways out here. And recently, Amazon has started, like you talking about, using people who will show up in. I'm not knocking rough looking vehicles because I have a couple of beaters in my own yard. You know, my little Trailblazer is beat up to death. But if I see someone who is in like a suspicious looking car slowly pulling up my driveway in the middle of the day when, it's just it tends to make you think things. If I see a big brown truck coming up the driveway or a box truck but when you see just like random Toyota Corolla with the
Yeah.
window knocked out of it coming up the driveway, it's like, okay, what is this? And so that's what I told Brandy the other day. I was like, you would think they would at least ship these people like some static cleans for the windows or
Yeah.
something,
Well,
just to kind of
they
give
are
you a clue.
given a vest, but yeah, you don't see that until they step out.
Yeah,
So,
but my driveway, like I said, when they're coming up the driveway, especially
mhm.
like I said, Toyota Corolla, mismatched fenders, window knocked out of it, I, you know, it's like, okay, what's this person coming to do? And then by the time I walk up to the vehicle, that's when I see the little thing that they wear.
Yep.
And so they probably need to do a little better job. Maybe give them a little thing like the pizza delivery people have or something that says Amazon. You stick the magnet
Yeah.
to your roof or something.
Well, I
But
don't know. It
anyway,
was just it was just piling on an already frustrating week and day, and
mm.
so to have their AI chatbot basically say no one can help you for another day or two, you're like, all right, well, I'm just glad it wasn't, you know,
Here's something to make your day
wasn't
better.
critical.
I don't know where that came from,
That
but
was the whole you talking about Masters of the Universe and
oh,
He-Man.
okay, yeah. I was gonna say that is a vision, though. That is definitely a vision. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, but yeah. It's
Oh,
been it's been a week for Steve, guys.
it's been something, but I'm alive. I'm here.
Jim, I stay busier than I thought I would. I'll put it to you that way. I have a lot less time, extra time, than I thought I was gonna have. But hopefully one day I'll actually have some extra time.
Everybody says that, but it's kind of like you build a workbench, it's nice and clean, and pretty soon it's filled up with tools or machines or whatever.
Yeah. Rob Wilson says I want to meet Mama Clack. Yeah, be careful what you ask for, Rob.
Yeah, you've met Clack.
But yeah, but it's gonna be fun. We're gonna, like I said, hopefully we'll have some experience. We'll have some, we got a couple of things that she wants to do while we're over that way that don't conflict with the event. She is gonna come to some of the stuff with me. Now it's not really her cup of tea. Like everything that's going on is not her cup of tea.
Yeah.
So she's got other plans, like during the events, parts that she doesn't care to do. She's gonna go, do her thing. But some of the get-togethers and like the what are they calling it, the mixer and stuff like that, where it's just going to be a kind of a social thing. I think she plans on being at those, and then of course there'll be plenty of time sitting down in the lobby probably. If it's anything like the events we normally go to, we'll be hanging out, congregating down by the local watering hole in the motel or whatever. So it's looking like it's going to be fun. So. Rob says my orange tumblers. I've actually got several of these. Because what y'all got to realize that every time, like Steve, I think Steve's doing his test tumblers for somebody else with a design for somebody else. But every time we do a test and we make tumblers, you just keep collecting them. And I've gotten to where I'm doing, like I've got the schematics for a 1911 and some different designs. Yeah, you end up with those sitting around, and it's like, I know it's stingy of me, but I don't like throwing them away. Even, you know what I mean? I'll be drinking out of it, and it's got a test pattern on it sometimes. So, yeah, but those things can pile up. So I've started using other designs that other people might want. And I've actually had a couple people come to the house and want one of these. And I'm like, okay, they're used, but if you want one, they're clean. So, yeah. I might ought to make a couple for, nah, we'll see. It depends on whether my other module shows up. I do now have, for you guys that haven't seen the video, this is the 20-watt fiber module for the Creality, but I also now have the 40-watt blue module. And I had to make this cool little cover for keeping them in the shop, because there's the lens for the exit pupil for the laser. And then there's some little connectors and stuff on the back here. And then it's got all these little vents for air on the module. And so I was a little concerned with this just sitting around in the shop that it could get dust and stuff in it. So I 3D designed and 3D printed this little part right here. And what this does is this allows me, when I take them out of the machine, I can slide it into this, and it covers up all of those little spots to where dirt and dust and debris might could get inside it. It covers up all those little places. The next thing that I'm going to do, depending on how many of these I get, I'm going to make me a little shelf or something to where I can set these on the shelf, and then I can just pull the one out that I need and put it into the laser. So yeah, this is what all you have to swap out with the T1 to go from a fiber to a UV to a blue to a MOPA is this piece. And I have tested it this past week. You do not, once you calibrate the module, once you calibrate it to the machine, if you're going from blue to the fiber spectrum to where they can use the same lens, all you do is pop the module out, pop the other one in, and go. Once you calibrate it, it stays calibrated. It's recognizing the serial number of the module, so I think that's how it's tracking it, is it just saves it a config file with that. But yeah. So this is the 20 watt fiber for the Falcon. And then the blue laser is in there now. And I've been doing some playing around with it and doing some embossing and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. It does have the addressable Z and everything, so it can do embossing and all the cool things. But it ain't going nowhere. That one's going to be sitting right there for a while because I like having a 40 watt blue laser in a galvo form. It is nice. And this one's got a little bit bigger work area than the G3. Not much, but a little bit. And the software is definitely more advanced than the G3 software.
Cool.
So, yeah. It's been fun. Been fun.
Kevin Jensen's asking, do you guys use the oil stick? They say it's for 3D printing, but what about lasers or ball screw CNC? I guess it's good, but curious your thoughts. It would depend on what the machine manufacturer wants you to use. If they're just telling you to use like a light machine oil, it's probably okay, and it looks to be kind of a nice way to apply it less with less mess. But you do definitely want to check to see what they want or don't want you to put on the ball screws and linear rails. Generally speaking, a lot of them will just be a light machine oil, but there are some that don't necessarily want that, and that's where you might not want to use it. But I would think they'd be okay as long as you double check the type of lubricant they're looking for.
Yeah. I agree. I have kind of landed. I've went around the world, but like I said, I used either the 3-in-1 machine oil on some of the light machines. But since I started using the that thicker, more specialized bearing oil for the CNC, I've started using it on the other machines, and so far it works great on the galvos, like for the the ball screw or the lead screw that makes it go up and down. It works great on those. So far, it's working good on other things too. So I've started using that stuff for everything instead of using the ping sheen. So you know what I'm talking about. I got some ping sheen right over
here. Mark's asking, once upon a time, Facebook Marketplace used to be great. Now it's full of trolls and scammers. Any advice on selling / advertising products? Yeah, I don't do a lot with Facebook Marketplace unless I'm trying to sell. It's kind of like the garage sale site for me. And yeah, I usually will put out a post on my personal page saying, hey, any friends or family want a really good deal, because I really don't want to deal with the Craigslist Facebook Marketplace group. But yeah, I depending on your area, I would look for more of Facebook groups that are towards your community. Like here we have one that's just, it's the buy sell stuff, but they also have like a handmade in Mankato or something like that. Or business to business groups that promote each other that maybe you can get involved with. Find some of those more specialized groups, maybe buy sell groups in your community that might have a slight bit of moderation to them. Those can have some success in reaching both the general public and or businesses. Otherwise, depending on your community, and each community is different, but usually there's some sort of like chamber of commerce or something that if you've kind of established yourself and you have some business going on, you might want to reach out to them and say, hey, I'd like to grow my business. What kind of resources do you have, and what kind of connections do you maybe have? um, there's always the good old, either working with a retail place, or doing the craft fair vendor shows, just to kind of get your name out there. While you're doing that, take advantage of social media. Make sure you have like an Instagram page and maybe a Facebook page, and just put out put out product images, like completed projects that you can offer as a bit of a portfolio. So that way, when someone asks, you can say, hey, you can go check out my page for other ideas as well. It does kind of take a little bit of footwork to get your foothold, I should say. Take a little bit of work to get your foothold, but once you kind of get some of that going, hopefully then between word of mouth and a few connections, it can kind of help sustain you without having to rely on too many random craft fairs and social media groups and Facebook Marketplace. But every community and market is a little bit different, and so what works for David might not work for me, or vice versa in other places. So kind of take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, I would agree. Just putting it straight Facebook Marketplace, probably not as easy, but find those more focus groups on your community then and see if it's something you can do there.
Yeah, Steve basically covered all of it. I think a lot of that comes from the fact that we have had this conversation, I don't know how many times in live videos. He touched on a lot of the ones that I strongly recommend, which is, like I said, if check your area, get up with your local chamber of commerce, join, because if you join your local chamber of commerce, one thing that most places a chamber of commerce does that a lot of people don't think about is they do ribbon cuttings and grand openings and stuff like that for businesses in the community. And so, especially if you're retired and you're trying to promote your business, that's a great opportunity to make a small little project or something and take it to that business during their grand opening ceremony, or uh, you know, the ribbon cutting or whatever. It's a good opportunity to make something and just take it and go, hey, look, here you go. Because a lot of times, even though you may not get a sale that day, you kind of give that person an item, and now they're like thinking about it. I've gotten in with especially real estate people, realtors, home builders, uh, just contractors, party planners, photographers, like all these different people are going to be in those groups. And I also participate in our local merchants association, which is a group of business owners in our area that kind of like, they'll get together and be like, hey, I'm new to using Square. Who's got experience in the group with using Square? What are the pros and cons, or what other alternatives are there, and stuff like that? That's kind of chatter that's in those groups. And a lot of times people will be like, hey, I'm looking to get this made. Is anybody in the group can make this for me? So those business to business connections are what I depend on heavily in what I do, because even though it's a small business, they may not call me an order, but every now and again. But every small business, like when they meet somebody new that's looking for something, they're going to refer you. I had a guy ask me to engrave a Bible that he bought at Peach Jam, and I refused because the material was an unknown material. I didn't want to chance it. It was $100 and something Bible. And so I turned the job down, and I told him, I was like, hey, go around to the Bible store. And I referred him to our local Bible store. I'm like, talk to them and see who they use or what they do. And of course, he drove like 2 counties over trying to get a place to engrave it, and nobody would. So he ended up bringing it back to me. And I just like was okay. He's like, dude, at this point, I just want my name on it. I don't care. If it don't look good, I'll put a sticker over it at this point. And so I wound up doing it, and it turned out perfect using the UV laser. And so now I saw the lady the other day, her husband, or the lady whose husband brought the Bible. I saw her the other day. I was getting some lunch in town, and she's like, "You really need to advertise that you do those, can do Bibles like that, because that's a market that nobody does." So you can also come up with ideas for projects with other businesses and other people in the community. But I got started with Marketplace, or not Marketplace, but just a Facebook page. Like that's how this YouTube channel came to be, was just from where I started uh, a page on Facebook and was just sharing my projects. So yeah, just keep clucking along. I mean, it takes a while. A lot of the times, I think the problems with a lot of people is they think because there's so many gurus on the internet that'll tell you, "Oh, I started my business and 6 months later I'm making $100,000 a month." That's what sells. That's what gets clicks. There's people right now that I see their videos every week where they're like, selling so many of these, selling so many of these, but they're doing like 4 or 5 videos a week, and I'm like, how, how are you selling so many of those? But so don't believe everything because it takes time. I got friends right now that are struggling because they're new. It's not they're like, hey, I started a YouTube channel a year ago and I got 200 subscribers. These people that you see that tell you you can do it tomorrow, and that's all they say is you can do this if you follow my directions, you can do this in a month. If they say that, they're lying because there's so many different caveats. Steve's personality, work experience, life experiences, all those things are different than mine. What works for me don't work for him. So yeah, don't believe the hype.
I have to. You have to remind me. I had a video come up in my feed that talks specifically to that. That thing about you're being lied to by.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, I see it. I see it all the time, and it's like, okay, I mean, yeah, you can make money, but it ain't like, you know what I mean? It don't happen like that.
Jared Lyon has a comment that I'm feeling good about the Master. I've enjoyed it. I believe we've talked a little bit back and forth about him using one as well. And I watched Valley Forge show off the conveyor, and now with rotary success, it's a great budget machine. And yeah, I have to give props to Eric. He did send me an email after, I don't know if it was last week's, it may have been last week's live when we were talking about it, and about extending the tube. So I did give him a little bit of a shout out in the video when I was doing that to lower the focus. But yeah, he's done some good videos with it as well. And yes, I do have the conveyor. I'm going to try to get it hooked up into that machine pretty soon and do some testing with that, amongst, all the other things I'm juggling, but that's why it's still sitting over here on the bench and fume clear hooked up to it for some good airflow as well. And so
Yeah.
we'll try to get that tested out and give people hopefully a good clear picture of what it can do. So
Yeah. Mark said, "Clack, when you're gonna do a Sunday night live in your new bedroom?" Well, Mark, the only thing is the way I've got this set up. First of all, this computer is far stronger than the one that's in there. The one in there, I've actually played around with it, doing some recordings and doing a little bit of lives on a members only. It gets taxed out kind of quick. So, and it only has one monitor on it right now, and I'm on a budget. So right now I'm going to keep doing them out here because I got my 2 monitors, I got all the different things, I got better mics, and I don't have to worry about shushing the family if they're in there talking or doing stuff. So it's a little more convenient out here at this time of night. In the middle of the day when nobody else is here, it doesn't matter. But as I get the a little more confidence in the setup that it's not going to freeze up and cause the video to be crappy, then I'll do it more in there. But right now the setup, it's okay, but it's like right there at that threshold to where it's like it's not quite not enough, but it ain't. There's no excess allocated resources on that computer. Like it's taxed out just doing the basic stuff. So I'm going to end up having to upgrade it anyway because of the Windows 10 11 thing. Because I got an extension until October. After that, that computer is no longer going to receive security updates, so it's got to go. And so in October, whenever I replace it, I'm going to upscale it a little bit with a video card and some other stuff just to try to do a little better.
we have an important follow up to your statement.
Uh-oh.
Brian's wondering what exactly happens when you shush Brandy.
I don't know. I don't do it. That's why I said I don't do that. I don't mess with her with stuff like that. What's up? There's Eric. So you talking about him, and he's sitting there. It's a good thing it wasn't bad talking about him because there he is right there.
Oh, I knew he was in there. So, but no, Eric, I do appreciate you sending me that. No, that definitely helped me out with the setup, and probably going to save me a little head scratching when I get the conveyor. I'd call it more of a sling bed. But.
Yeah, I was gonna say Yeah, the conveyor to me is like one of the grocery store
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Rob Wilson said he accepts wayward tumblers. So if you have any,
All mine,
Eric's
yeah,
got a
like you say, mine
question
get
here.
tested up. Crazy question. I hate measuring tumbler mugs. Can't they just make a laser that automatically measures the circumference? I would picture for that and give it great view. Well, the Eufy make does, and imagine a number of the others because they use lasers that kind of cross to detect the height of everything, and then they can also use that to, with their automatic tilting, to find the um, to level it out, and then they also use them to measure it. So yes, it can be done, but the random cheapness that I mean, like not including cable chain on top parts of gantries for laser companies that we won't mention, they cheap out in weird ways. So I don't think they'd want to invest too much in that, or they'd
Yeah.
charge us an arm and a leg.
The if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure the that machine from One Laser, what's it called?
Vertigo, is it?
Vertigo. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it self focuses because it has a known center of rotation. So I'm
Mm.
pretty sure it has
So
autofocus on it.
yeah, then uses the okay,
Yeah,
I can see that.
I think it does. Don't quote me on that, but I think it may. But now again, it's not cheap. But I'm wanting to say that when I saw it working, it touched off with a probe on the tumbler, but I could be wrong. Papa's Woodworking says Reno 65 Pro Vision worth the money. If as long as tumblers, or let's put it this way, as long as using a chuck is not important to you, it's not a bad machine. It's really a fast machine, an effective machine. It's very simple to operate. It works with light burn. I had really good luck with the 45 Pro Vision that I have. But if you want to do stuff with a chuck, that's where you're gonna run into a wall. Is doing chuck. You can do roller, like if you want to do roller stuff, you can do that. But chuck is a no go
Yep. Yeah, I
unless you
agree. I
change the
mean,
controller out.
it everything else I threw at it. I mean, other than upgrading the air, which isn't that difficult. Um, you do that, and it's pretty good
Yeah,
machine. So,
yeah. The air assist does need a little bit of a boost
but
to get the best results out of
that's
it. But
I would say that about 90% of the integrated any of the lasers I've worked with integrated air pumps that always seem to be leaving you wanting more adjustment or more air or something. So I mean, I'm not I'm not saying that don't go there because there's better ones out there. That seems kind of like across the board.
yeah, Tony Lafort Jr. says, "Can't you spray paint the used cups and rerun them? If you're just using them for testers to like test your design, sure. But the tumblers are powder coated; they're not spray painted. And yeah, there's no once you engrave one. The only thing that I have done is if you take a sander, you can sand them down and get it to where it's usable, but they'll still be, especially if you use a blue laser, typically there's going to be a little bit of residual shading that if you look carefully, you can still see it. But that's a lot of sanding to get that done.
Yeah.
There's one. Don says, I just took my X2 F2 Ultra UV. Any tips on doing K9 glass? Also waiting for my for my O1 Omni UV printer to ship. Waiting to see if some of with it. I think there was a little typo there. My lasers will work good together.
Well, you can maybe answer the first part anyway. Okay, one of us has gone. All right, I'm guessing I'm still here. He's frozen a really nice contemplative thought. Sorry, Don. I don't have the F2 Ultra UV as far as doing canine. My only experience with it is the Omni X. There he dropped out. So I can't help you too much with that as far as how the F2 Ultra UV is going to do it, but I do, from talking with Quack, their software does kind of walk you through it pretty well. Biggest thing I would say is you want to maybe invest in some gloves. You don't want to mark that up because the oil on your skin can cause a little bit of refraction of the laser light, and so you want to keep those clean. And then mixing the UV printer with that. If you're talking about on the canine glass, you may need to look into some adhesion promoters to mix the actual UV printing with that. But there's a lot of things you can do with a UV printer, mixing it with lasers, 3D printers, and such. I did a couple videos with the Eufy Make on printing on 3D printing objects, doing a light box where I cut out the acrylic with the laser, then put it on the backside of that, glued it into a 3D printed module. So, and David says he's currently got some network failure, so we'll see if he can get that working. Oh, looks like he might be jumping back in. So,
Wow.
All right.
I wonder if they're gonna knock that off my internet bill.
Yeah. Who did you bad talking your internet company or something? Because I know I was earlier today too.
No, I guess maybe a technician tripped over a cable or something. I don't know what happened. It was working, and then all of a sudden it was just like thump.
Yeah, you had a very contemplative look on your face, and I was like, did I freeze or did he?
No, I guess that's the only thing I can figure, because I know all my network is set to refresh at like 3 a.m. So I know it wasn't anything on my end. That had to be my ISP, because it blacked out everything. I checked, my router was unresponsive.
Well, you know how you killed Brandy's favorite tree, running your water line to the shop or something like that? Maybe she's just out there with your internet, just keep putting a kink in the cable and just going, I'm going to get him.
No, I can guarantee you
Wait, I know. You shushed her, didn't you?
No, I did not. No, we've had some thunderstorms coming through. I don't know if maybe they had to reset a switch or something. The time that it was down makes me feel like somebody had to power cycle something.
Well, you're back, and I didn't have to say too many bad things about you.
No, I'm gonna run a speed test right quick and see if they got me throttled after that. Or rarely does it go completely out. And like I said, I've got batteries on all of my infrastructure here, so no, I'm still running.
So another funny thing, maybe I told you this, but so we've talked about having UPSs hooked up to our equipment, as a good safety measure, just from brownouts, from blackouts, letting a 3D print job finish or whatnot. So I have one, and now that I've added the X2D with the dual AMS things, I need a bigger one.
Yeah.
Even just the X2D running and heating up the bed is sometimes enough current to trip the overload protection on my.
Oh wow.
Because I was wondering, like, why does they all have that little tone or whatever when they start,
yeah,
but it would do
out.
that, and then it was just like, beep. I'm like, what is that printer doing? And
are you sure the battery's just not going bad?
It's fairly new.
Oh wow, that's because there's one. But
I have
over there under my CNC, but now it's a big one.
I have 3 3D printers and a Eufy Make plugged into it. So even the others at their idle amp draw.
Yeah, if they all happen to sync up and like hot ends are all warming up at the same time, that's a pretty good bit of amperage. So
yeah. The UPSs are great, but just make sure you scale them right.
Yeah, didn't I see earlier where Eric was asking about justifying about if we have ever used lasers to 3D printers to do laser projects? Was that Eric that was asking that?
There you go.
Okay, here it is. Yeah, Eric says, sorry, my only other question, have y'all combined 3D printers and lasers to make projects? Just have to justify my purchase of a 3D printer. I use 3D printers on lots of projects. I combine 3D printers, CNCs, UV printers. Like I combine all of them. The biggest thing with 3D printers, is like when you get that laser in, like Steve had to do it the other day. Yeah, when you get that laser in and like this hose don't connect to this hose and you need to make them go together, it's you just sit down and draw it up and print it. Uh, Not to mention, like, which I've got them all, I'm using them all right now just about. But like you can make your own little storage containers and put like random things in them. I mean, you 3D printers are really, really handy.
Little battery caddies for
Yeah.
keeping the tabs clean, but you can slide
Yeah, I've
them out.
got.
Yeah, you find a lot of use. Or you know what's become one of my favorite utility knives? This is something that Ryan over at our Ballard Designs showed off one week. Was
Yeah.
these?
Yeah.
It's this literally just two colors of PLA with a typical razor blade in it, and I have a few of these around the house, and these get used more often than half my other, EDC or scissors or other things that are about.
I done deleted the pictures now, but Brandy had, and I need to do a little short video on it. But I made a caddy for Brandy for her curling iron and what's the other thing? It's like a little flattener press thing that they use for their hair. She usually just like unplugs them and lays them on the edge of the counter, and it's been messing with my OCD just a little bit. And so I made this thing the other day to where it holds the curling iron as well as the little flattener thing, and on the side I got like some keyhole looking slots that the cords hook into, and so it's on the side of the little what you call it, the vanity or whatever, over out of the way, and it is awesome. I wasn't sure
Even
Brandy was going to like it, but I kind of surprised her with it when she came home.
even simple things like this. So we've all made these little LED lit signs, right? But
Mm-hmm.
they you buy these bases on Amazon, and they have like something like a 4 mil slot, and so I just made a quick little. It just snaps right in, and then it holds the thinner like 1/8 inch or slightly under 1/8 inch, as they always get, and drops that in. Just simple things like that you can add to other projects. It's not always a large component of the project. It's sometimes just
Yeah.
makes it easier. Why can't I turn this
Well,
thing
one
off
of
now?
that Tron, the newest robot lawnmower that I got in the other day, it kept getting little pieces of pea gravel in the tires. So like it would be sitting there running around the yard, and it sounded like it had BBs in the wheel. And I found that there was holes in the sidewalls of the tires, and so I designed and printed these little things out to plug the holes. And since since I inserted those in, now I have zero rocks in the tires. And I also, these are handy. These are my little magnetic mounts that you screw this to the wall or whatever, and then you can like if you have your measuring tools, you can literally just throw your measuring tool against the wall, and you don't have to worry about like trying to hang it up. It works with that. Your ink pen, if you got an ink pen that you use in the shop, and so there's all kinds of needs. Just buy it, Eric. Just say I need a 3D printer and go buy it. The latest one of the latest ones that I did.
You guys got them rolling on a big old show and tell.
Well, I can't figure out.
I'm gonna be here a while.
I'll put it now. But I made some like little snap C rings the other day for mounting cables to the edge of my porch because I put that RTK station up there, and so I made me some little wire hangers that you just like snap the wire into them.
Did you make yourself your own miniature storage bin?
No, I haven't made any mini bins. They're handy, definitely handy.
Well, if you didn't make one, did you make two so they can stack?
No, no, I didn't make that. I do have some other stuff that I've made. I'm sure, such as like this thing that I showed y'all earlier that holds the. Oh, I did make this. This is the little mount for the controller for the Creality T1 that I made to go on the top. I did design that. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of
she did She read into my design a little bit.
It's not always integrated into the project, but in a support way, where 3D printers really make a big difference, from creating jigs to adapters to whatnot. But yeah, there are other things. Like I did a video using, I just mentioned it while Clack was freezing his internet. It was a light box where I did laser cutting, UV printing, and 3D printing. So there are definitely ways to incorporate them all. And yeah, Rob Wilson says too, we get a lot of people asking, will a such and such diode laser engrave it? Well, if you have an IR module for it, it's usually better, because the PLA or the blue diode will generally just kind of melt what it is, whereas the IR will actually change the color tone and whatnot, and UV even better. So
Yeah, and such things as like this koozie jig that I made. This is 3D printed. Of course, the other part of it is laser cut, but yeah. So that comes in handy when you're engraving koozies, because it makes them flatten out and keeps them straight. And I have several of the little jig parts in here to use for that. So there's all kinds of needs for a 3D printer. Just go and get you one. I have links in the description of my videos.
oh, all right.
You can just make some projects.
So we get too far behind. Michael Penn's asking, "Hi, Stephen Clark. We're interested in getting the alien cell for our business. We have a couple of questions. We haven't seen anybody using a rotary on the machine." So they've had that announced for a while. They did say that they were going to be sending, or starting to send them out this summer, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know of anyone outside of kind of their inner circle and maybe a few select um, content creators that maybe have had a chance to test them out. So I don't think they're out enough in the wild for people to be showing them. That and the riser base, hopefully you'll start seeing more soon from them. Outside of that, yes, the laser is very nice. It's very fast. It's got a nice larger working area than some of the typical ones and such. So I know both of us have talked about them a lot and continue to use them. Mine's currently in a cleaning cycle after tearing into it with the questions last week. So I'm gonna give her a good cleanup here, and then get her back in service.
I pulled up the email. I pulled up the email that we have, and I don't want to speak too much because I know a lot of this stuff is still being developed or whatever. But back in June, they told me, because they asked me if I would take one of the rotaries once they got it ready, and I told them I would. As far as I know, it's supposed to be coming. They've offered me most every part for it so far, but like there's some parts that I just didn't have the room or want to take. But they're saying that there should be a sneak peek coming up in August, I think, for the rotary. So there's some stuff in the works, but yeah, they're still, from what the email told me, I can't say if they're still with their schedule or not. But the rotary should be here soon, and that's all I got. I haven't seen pictures. I haven't seen anything, but I do know that there is plans to add it with a riser. Of course, you're gonna have to have the riser to have the rotary, but those two parts, from my understanding, are still in development, and it looks like, unless it's changed, probably this month or next month, some information should become available on it. But I have had
Cool.
email conversations with them, and that is something they plan to add to the machine. So.
All right. Hertalt saying, or asking, with the downhill slide of Momport's customer service, quality control, what's a good budget entry CO2 laser? I guess, here's the funny thing. When I've mentioned in my videos or my titles that, this something might be a good budget laser, there's always someone who questions my qualifier of what's budget.
Yeah, whose budget?
So yeah, if you're talking CO2 lasers, there are a handful that are under $1,000, but as you are pointing out, it's kind of like the K40s and the Monport Renos. just kind of dip under there. But I would say from the ones I've tried, if you're looking for the best bang for the buck on a budget laser right now, the Omtech Polar Light ticks a lot of boxes. The one I haven't completely settled on yet with that is I have a couple of rotaries I want to test and see if I can get it working with a chuck style rotary. It's going to notch that up a little bit more. It's not something they offer. They have their roller rotary, and it does work with that. But that seems to be kind of a holdup for a lot of people is having that chuck style rotary. That's where I think the Omtech Polar Light was around 1800 dollars. The IKEA Master would probably be kind of coming in next after that. It's about $2,021 itself. If you get the riser and the rotary bundle right now, it lists for 25 or 2450 or 2550. I think 2550. But if you check out my video, there is a coupon code on that that'll save you $300 for that, at least as of this time. And that brings it down to about 2250. I think you get free shipping and then the F80 Air Assist with that as well. So you'll have to add some tax on there depending on your state or location. I would say that, between those two, they're, of my experience, of the more budget minded CO2 lasers. There are others out there, but I hate to speak to them without really having any experience with them.
The Hurricane wasn't a bad one if they haven't killed it off. I don't know exactly how much of a budget it is at this point, but at the time it was pretty decent. Yeah, it's at 26. So yeah, it's going to be on up there with some of the other ones. It's actually more than the Omtech Light Polar Light is. So yeah. Yeah, it's when you start talking CO2, you get up about $3,000 before you can get all of the bells and whistles.
Well, even the Polar Light's now at $2,000, so
yeah,
they're all kind of creeping up there.
Yeah, the Monport Reno 45 is $999, and like I said, it for a smaller work area, lower powered CO2, it done a good job. But chuck rotary work is not something it's good for. So.
Yup.
$3 custom engraving says, has another company by chance ever continued to design the Rolly Galvamatic? There are, that I know of, there are two different versions of that. Well, it's not based on that per se, but similarly designed products. There are two that I'm aware of. One of which is the cell laser that me and Steve went and saw up in at CES, and the other one is a machine that I've heard rumors of, but I can't speak about. So
I have a cricket singing me a serenade from a different part of cricket. It's in a different part of the shop. They're surrounding me.
I hear him now. But stay tuned. I feel like within the next month or two, there may be more news on the horizon for a gantry galvo. So. I said I've heard. I know a cell laser has been developing theirs now for, I guess, probably close to a year now. I think since they first started talking about it, and I know they've got some beta units out in the wild to specific people, but there's very few. And I know their software. When me and Steve saw it at CES, the software was still very much in development, so I don't know where that's at as far as release date or anything. But a cell laser is the one that we've actually saw, and it was assembled and somewhat operational from what we could tell.
Yeah, they were still they said it was working with Lightburn, but they kept the lid was back, and they kept flipping between windows, and they weren't exactly like, well, give me a picture and I'll engrave it. They were still very much using.
Yeah, they had 3 designs?
Kind of set programs to run it. So I don't feel like I got a good feel for.
Yeah.
I mean, mechanically we got to see how it would do it, but they've been doing a lot of work with Lightburn and others on the development of that. So hopefully it's going to be fairly polished.
He is cutting up now. I can hear him. That is going to be so awesome the next
He's
3 or 4
behind.
videos.
He's behind the P3 right now. Can move it out and try to get at him, but
Let's see what we got here. Trying to go through these comments, make sure I ain't missing nothing. What's Fred talking about? I see Fred said something about a thunder.
Jake's asking, speaking of network, how do I add a second router to get Wi-Fi to my shop?
It depends.
The easiest way to do that, you want to look for a mesh network router. That'd probably be the easiest way to do it, but it will have limitations. Some of them have what's called an Ethernet backhaul, but a lot of them will use a separate Wi-Fi channel to make the link, and so you kind of need to be in range for that to work. There are far more technical ways of linking a router to an existing router that would probably bore half our audience and make the live stream
In layman's terms and keeping it as simple as possible, if you have the ability to run like a Cat 6 cable from the one that's in your house, and you can run that cable all the way to inside your shop, then you just go from an outgoing, like one of your 1 through 5 or 1 through 8 or 1 through whatever ports, and then you plug that into the other router in your shop, and you set it up as basically as a wireless access point, or you can just do a different subnet if you wanted to, but it's easier just to plug it in and use it as a wireless access point. It's a little technical, but it's not hard. But like Steve said, you can also use mesh routers. You can use wireless point-to-point systems. I've used some of those. Those work pretty well, as long as you're only going like a couple of 100 feet. And depending on what you want to use it for. If you're wanting to use it to do streaming, probably want to go ahead and bury some cable or some wire. The point-to-point stuff's not terrible, but the mesh is going to possibly cause you some latency issues because, well, it's Wi-Fi. And that happens. I'm running on a buried wire that Steve likes to tell everybody I killed a tree to bury.
I just report the facts as I hear them. I'm also going to be very annoyed at this cricket.
You're going to be up all night looking for that cricket. I'm telling you, they make some stuff. I got some of it over there. It's called
I have some wasp and hornet spray. I'm sure that would probably do it in.
I don't know if that'll get a cricket. I don't know.
Well, honestly, this stuff, I don't think it killed the wasp or hornets. I think I just pissed them off and made them stronger.
Yeah, you got some of that herbal.
Episode.
You got some of that herbal stuff. I got some of this. It's a barrier spray, and you put it around the base of the walls and around the doors, and like they might come in, but they don't make it far. And
yeah,
they're like,
there are a few things. I gotta probably gonna make a trip to Menards, and I'll pick up that and some of your trail mix. And
oh yeah, I need some trail mix. I need to go back to Menards. I need to see if they sell that stuff online.
Unfortunately, Menards you can buy things online, but it's only for store pickup. So.
Trying to check these.
Tony, I hope you keep your head down if those tornadoes are heading your way. So.
Yeah.
Not something to mess with.
Give me the cricket.
Ryan, all that after I gave you props for showing me this knife.
Bloody the Effect says 300 feet is the limit for Ethernet. I would have to argue if you use the right equipment, you can go further than that, but you are going to need a bit of a power booster on the input, and then you also would have to have the other end. There's a receiver that basically boosts up the voltage between the connection, so you can get more distance, or you can just put a switch or something in the middle. But yeah,
just drop Starlink on the shop. You'd be good.
Yeah.
Although, from my experience and from what I understand, though, if you want to live stream a lot with that, you need to get two and bond them, because there does come a point where it needs to switch satellites And so you get this happened when Ryan was doing a members only live stream and I was out camping. So I was like, heck, I'm just sitting around the campfire. I'll join him. And every little bit I would freeze or drop for about 5 to 10 seconds while it was making its switch. But if you have two and they're bonded, it's kind of like a signal hopping spread spectrum thing where it'll drop one,
It
let it reconnect
automatically
while the
fails
other.
over.
Yeah.
That makes sense because it does, because the satellites, it will have to move every now and then. Huh. Well,
Southern Lasercraft says my X2D showed up Wednesday and hasn't had a break since setting it up. I made my first design in Fusion and only took 2 prints to get it right. Well, that's great. That's awesome. Mine's had a little bit of a break here and there, but I've been keeping them going. I also got one of the Big Q. Oh gosh, they've got both the Frost and the Glacier, and I ordered the wrong one at first, and it'll cool down and stuff will still be stuck to it. So
yeah.
you need a plate. You need a plate that at least PLA and PETG sticks to. That one will do it.
Yeah, this one's still warm. It just shut off a little while ago. But yeah, I just got through printing this over on the X2D. And you can tell it's still warm because, well, it hadn't hopped up off the plate yet. But I'll let that cool. You'll hear it pop here in a minute and it'll jump.
Well, I heard a pop earlier and I jumped.
Yeah.
But that's because I was plugging something in.
Rob wants to know if I can send Fluffy up there to handle that cricket. They don't have to handle the crickets around here. I got some spray, which I had some ants. I don't know what happened. I had like the sugar ants got on my counter right here in front of me. So I had to get my ant spray out because the stuff that I use for barrier, typically it keeps them out, but it just wasn't handling these guys. So I had to get the specific ant spray and get after them with it.
But wait long enough.
Critters.
If I wait long enough, winter will take care of them.
You think it's nice and toasty, all that insulation. He'll be hiding in that wall, going, "Oh, I'm thankful for this insulation."
No, they do seem to disappear. But this guy is just like...
Fred said Ray used to have a 3-pack of fumigators that take care of that cricket issue. Yeah, they get you one of them bombs and put in there on Monday morning when you go to work. And when you come home, you'll be handled. Yeah, Jake, I have critters. Like I said, I definitely have critters. Now I do got a bunch of spiders in here. The spray that I use is not spider spray. You have to have, for spiders, you have to have a specific spray. I did learn that. Like general, like pest control, like bug stuff from Tractor Supply. What is Steve doing?
It is.
What are you trying to make us feel like we're outside camping or something?
No. Oh, I know what the problem is, I think.
You killed your camera.
I know I killed my camera. I know I killed my camera. I'm pulling a clack.
Oh, okay. But yeah.
Wait for it. Oh, come on. There it is.
What's that? Is that the cricket cam?
Cricket cam, yep.
He's trying to find the cricket. It is driving him nuts. Uh-oh. You spooked him. Oh, you spooked him again. If that cricket knows what's good for him, he'd be quiet right now. Oh, you done spooked him now. He done got quiet.
There's 2 of them.
He got twins. Congratulations, Steve. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. Oh, me. Woo. Valley Forge says, "Was I really like the second like?" I don't think so. There's 26 on my channel. I don't know. I don't know which way you're looking at it. A lot of times the likes don't refresh during the video, which is kind of weird. But you can hit the refresh button and they'll refresh. But a lot of times they don't just automatically refresh while you're watching videos. So it'll mess with you sometimes. So Steve is on a mission to get crickets right there. So if I'd have thought about it, guys, when I came up there to visit with him, what I should have done was went by the bait shop and grabbed me about 50 crickets. Because you can get them for about, I think, $6 for 50 or so, or maybe more than that now. And I could have just brought him some crickets. Uh-oh. He's going for it. Oh! Oh my gosh. Yes. Gerald Grady said, "Who off?" Cheering for the cricket. Yes, Steve. Boofer says you got dueling crickets over there.
Well, they just took a very fast trip through a narrow tube.
Did you get them?
Hmm?
Well, oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Well,
It's quieter.
yep.
Now it's just like a subdued from inside the vacuum.
I'm waiting to hear that.
Oh man.
Some peace.
Hashtag Steve needs some bug. Steve needs a pest control person. Yeah. Mercy.
Well, got quiet, didn't it?
It has gotten quiet. It has gotten quiet. I'll give you that. Oh, but the humor, though, man, I was going to have so much fun out of that cricket.
Oh, I'm sure
Yeah,
there will be more.
Yeah, I was going to try to find like a cricket emoji to comment in all your videos.
'Tis the season, but hey, that was the two over there. Earlier, it was coming from over there, so there very well could still be, the chance to do that. So
I'm
Great
surprised I don't have more of them here. I guess the cats probably do fight with them. I know the cats will fight with the spiders sometimes because I got those cone spiders that make the cone webs.
Hmm.
I got a bunch of those things, and like they'll have babies, and next thing you know, I got like 50 of them.
Mostly in here, I get though just the typical daddy long legs with just the random.
Now Billy's got a good point though. Send Steve some spiders, and he won't have to take care of his
You
cricket.
know how many spiders are in this shop?
Maybe that's why I don't have crickets. Is because I got so many. You've seen the spiders look like tarantulas down here, right?
Well, they do. Those are usually outside, and that's why they're probably in here.
Mm-hmm. They ran them inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've also had a lot of rain recently, so that'll drive them inside.
Yeah. Mercy. Mm-mm-mm.
People being funny. Yep. You laugh. It's only a few weeks till we get to.
Mercy. So, for those of you that may have missed it, just so that nobody gets their feelings hurt or gets upset, in case any of you have travel plans that you might want to change, Steve has announced early on in the live that due to some schedule changes and his full-time job basically getting a little hectic, he is not going to be making it to Texas with us this year. Maybe next year. Maybe we can only hope. But he will be there in spirit, and since he can't be there, he's gonna like pay for everybody a steak supper one night.
Mm,
Did you not
no,
agree to that?
no,
Oh man! See, I was hoping I could get him to agree to
no.
it. Put him on the spot. It didn't work, guys. So
I may have to. I may have to send you some stickers though, and I don't even have them out here to show.
now I've got a few, but
No,
yeah.
these are new stickers.
Oh, you got new stickers? Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I might. You might need to send some then.
these are new
I'll take
stickers
them.
now.
I'll take them with me.
Yeah, they're kind of fun, but I guess yeah.
Yeah, but anybody that was planning on being there, like I said, it's unfortunate. We hate that it happened. I mean, I was kind of looking forward to the hangout time, but yeah, Steve's gonna have to do a rain check unless something really extraordinary happens.
Yeah, I mean, I could lose my job.
I mean, if that happens, he'll probably be coming. Well, actually, if that happens,
That
he probably
happens.
won't be able to afford to
If
come.
that happens, there'll be a lot of lasers for sale. Someone's gotta pay a grocery bill.
um,
Yeah.
anyway, so
Um. Well, Paul is asking. I'm thinking about setting up a small setup of the Creality Falcon 1 and an IKEA Master. Is there anything I would be missing by not having a gantry diode?
is he saying Falcon? Is it the T1 Falcon?
Yeah, it
He
must
says
be the
Falcon
T1.
1.
Must be the
T1.
T1 because the Falcon A1, like we've had, is a gantry. If you've got the IKEA Master, the only thing that the diodes are better at giving a darker engraving, a little bit easier. Not that you can't get it with the CO2, but they tend to be more ablative and more efficient at removing the material on natural materials like wood and leather, whereas the diode will sinter it more and burn it and leave a better mark. So I can't. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? If you didn't have and if you're getting the Falcon T1, you'd be able to do some of that anyway with the right module. So
Yeah, assuming that the Falcon is going to have the blue 40-watt blue module, you're still going to have some size restrictions because of the work area. I mean, you can do blue engraving, or you can do engraving, and with the T1, you can even do small cuts. Like this is an engrave slash cut that I did with the Galvo on the T1 using the 40-watt blue. So you could do that if you had the blue module with the T1. The only thing that I would warn you is the work area is what you get. There's no flipping it around off the back like you can with other Galvos. There's no taking the floor plate out and engraving through the bottom. The work area is the work area is the work area. So small things, if that's what you're planning on doing, you would be fine. But when you start getting into trying to do, like if you try to do something that's like 12 inches by 12 inches, you're going to have to do it on the CO2, on the IKEA Master. So as long as you're not just dead set, like Steve said, on having the blue laser burn where you get a little bit darker color instead of the lighter, I think you'd be okay. Because like the Falcon, I'm assuming I don't have the rotary for the Falcon. I'm assuming they're going to release a rotary because it has like connections for it, and that just makes sense. But assuming that you could get a rotary that would work with the Falcon or a rotary that worked with the IKEA Master, you could do tumblers. Either way, I would prefer the CO2 myself. But yeah, I mean, for smaller projects, I think you'd be okay. Like I said, that's the only caveat is going to be if you're trying to do bigger things, you're going to have to use the IKEA Master. And if you get bigger than that, then you're just SOL. But you can cut, like this is some like 1/8 basswood. You can cut with this Creality machine, and I'm surprised, but with the way that I've got mine set up using the Creality air purifier, the airflow actually kind of acts like an air assist because there's so much air being pulled through the machine that it doesn't let uh, flames pop up. So that would be the only thing. But the Falcon would allow you to do MOPA. It would allow you to do blue. It would allow you to do UV. That's what I think is cool about it. So if you have very limited space, you could make it work. And so far, it seems pretty solid. So I'm gonna do more testing this week with the blue module, and I'm gonna try to get a video out with it. I did a bunch, but as you can see right here with this basswood, I'm actually cutting this 3 millimeter basswood at 16 millimeters a second with this Galvo machine, which is pretty insane to be able to cut 16 millimeters a second. And that's a single pass too. That's not multiple passes.
Radu says if I only had some animals, I would stalk that cricket. Yeah, it's a detached shop. I mean, my cats do come visit the other shop, but I'll tell you, they are. You know the memes about the lazy freeloader that's lounging about at home. I mean, that's my cats. I mean, I will give them some props. They will hunt down some flies, oddly enough, but you get a random, bug crawling across the floor of my shop, and they mostly just kind of play with it. They're kind of like, yeah, you've got the murder machine over there.
That she brought that in the shop the other night. I was sitting over here working, and I heard her just like meow, 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 and I'm like, "What is wrong with this cat?" And I looked over there, and she is smacking on this thing, and she done went out there and got a field rat. That was not a mouse, sir. That was a field rat. She went and caught that out of a wood pile somewhere, and brought it in here. And I'm like, "Oh no, you're not leaving that in the shop. That'll be ripe in about 3 days."
Yeah, well, my cats will turn their nose up if you give them the wrong. Yeah, I got to rinse out their water dish from time to time because they're like, I'm not drinking that. Give me some of that fresh water.
Cats. You got them snobby cats.
Yeah.
Oh, mine just go gangster on these moles and voles and rats and mice and squirrels and chipmunks and it's the weirdest thing though. Todd the toad, which is he's a toad that hangs out at the back door of the house, and then I got a couple of them that hang out right here at the shop, and they're those brown toads that come out at night and they get under the lights, and when the bugs hit the light and fall, they'll jump across there and grab the bugs. The cats will not mess with that toad. I guess because of their defenses or whatever, but the cats won't mess with them. Like they'll be sitting right there beside them and not even look at them. So, yeah.
It's a important question that needs some follow up. David's asking, what's the lifespan of a cricket? Can't you just wait them out? And I did look into that a couple years ago, and it can be up to, I think, a couple months.
Yeah.
So
I know it was at least 2 or 3 months.
Be gone.
I know it was at least 2 or 3 months, unless he got like run over accidentally by a caster wheel or something, because he was with you for about 2 or 3 months last time.
Well, I'm pretty sure they were replenishing themselves, and more were like, "Hey, this is a nice place." So, yeah, I probably need to get some of that spray and double check for any. I do know that under my garage doors, those seals are. Oh, when they build this, they're 18 years old, so they probably need a refreshing. So,
Ryan's asking, can Steve on a stick be there? There may be a Steve there. You never know. There may be. We'll have to see.
I should.
Mark said, "Take Steve on a backpack with you."
Brian, maybe. Out. Yeah, I'll see if they're still alive. We can dump them out and set up cricket cam. Put that on the outdoor channel.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if I have enough watch hours over there to do live streaming. Do they still restrict that?
I know there's a couple of channels out there that have like deer feeder cams that.
No, I know, but I thought at one point you couldn't live stream until you had so many like your.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think there is a restriction still.
Yeah. Rob says I'm a home wrecker. They both went to the same place. Didn't break them up, and just quickly transported them to a cushy dust bed.
Trade Skillers Anonymous says, considering replacing my 13-year-old Orbi mesh system to a unified Ubiquity while upgrading from 1 gig to 5 gig fiber. Anyone? No panels. audience have direct experience with Ubiquity? I have used we had it looked like a UFO that was a Ubiquity WAP at the police department, but it's a little OP for home networks, in my opinion, as far as the price tag and the interface and like having to like know how to access the settings and all that. I think it would probably be a little overpowered for what you need, but I mean, it's good stuff. It's just, but if you're using a 13-year-old router and you have it upgraded, you could literally go get the cheapest router on Amazon right now and it would be an upgrade for you.
As I say, we've looked at some of their more enterprise door access and camera stuff. Like you say, it's very nice, but it also comes with a bit of a price tag. But I know a number of the at least the private colleges around here have been looking at it. Um, but I can't remember. And again, this is kind of more like their enterprise line of stuff where, you know,
There's some
it's kind of a
managed show
different grade
marketing.
of things. But I want to feel they had changed their pricing structure recently because too many people were pushing back on like this all or nothing kind of approach they were taking. But I've heard really good things about people who do use it. They like it. It's higher quality as far as their network cameras and other things, higher quality of recording and ease of access for their end users and such. But I haven't really looked into their more. I know they have like doorbells and smaller switches and access points. So
Yeah, I haven't messed with any of those. The one we had, it literally looked like probably about an 18-inch UFO that was stuck to the ceiling, and it had, I think there was 6 networks that we used, and then there was like a couple of IoT networks and different wireless networks for the body cameras and stuff like that ran off of it, and it worked fine. But now the GUI on it and the setting it up and managing everything it took a little time sitting down reading the book.
well, here's part of my problem.
What's that?
Apparently, crickets are affected by air temperature. Warm air speeds up their life cycle while cool air slows it down. And at the air conditioner now.
Mm. So you're prolonging the life of the cricket. So it's like a cricket
Apparently,
hotel now,
no.
like a day spa for crickets. Klondike says, I know you guys have answered this one before, but what's the best small laser for leather patches? If you're going to do leather patches, the best small laser for it is the one with the best fume management.
I was gonna say the one at your friend's house to deal with the fumes.
Yes.
um.
UV.
Well, if you're wanting to just engrave them, not too bad. But if you need to cut them, that's where you really, I feel, yeah, that's where the CO2 is kind of nice, is for cutting them. The diodes will do it. You're going to need some higher power and good airflow to do it without multiple passes and just stinking it up too much. Getting it done a little faster and the more effective burn of a CO2 would work better. So, but I mean, that being said, I have cut patches. I think I did some leather stuff back with the 10-watt X Tool D1. So it's all doable, but it's one of those things that if you're wanting to cut thicker, like actual leather and thicker leather, then a little more power is going to help get through that a little bit better. But if it's the synthetic leather, pick your poison. I've done that with 10, 20 watts without a hassle. It doesn't take a lot of power.
Yeah.
Mr. Bojun is asking, I saw Momport is coming out with a Reno with a built-in water cooling. I'll be honest, I feel that's, unless you're just doing light engraving occasionally, I feel that's a downgrade. Biggest killer of liquid cooled CO2 lasers is going to be bad cooling. And when you get the integrated ones, they often are just, they've got a smaller reservoir and they tend to be just a radiator. style.
They
They
heat
don't
up
always
quicker.
have active cooling. Um, and so your temperature swings are greater, and it's easier for it to overheat. Whereas, if you invest in an active cooling radiator for your any glass fill or glass water filled CO2 laser, it's one of the best things you can do is get the right water chiller for the laser. Um, the all in one desktop units are nice from a compact standpoint, but they I often find that it's your air assist that suffers, and then oftentimes too your cooling if they it's crammed in there at a small box, it's generating heat, doesn't have a lot of airflow. It's just not great.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. The ability to upgrade your cooling for your climate is a big thing too. Y'all. Trade Skiller said some Wi-Fi access points can
Serve.
serve 10 gigabytes. Would anybody here think I would ever saturate a 1 gig AP? I'm gonna be honest with you. Unless you're really doing some high tier moving of files, in which I don't know. My network. I'm running Cat 6. All right. I can get 1 gig speeds out of my Cat 6. I transferred some video files earlier from a video that I just did from inside the house to an SSD on my little file server over here earlier today, and it was some pretty decent sized files, and it took like 5 seconds. I don't know that I would. I don't know. To me, that's like having a Lamborghini, driving a Lamborghini to go pick up groceries. I don't know that the average person is going to need that. If you had like a server farm or something, maybe. But
Well, it also depends on, I mean, especially if you got an older router, and a lot of those, they don't necessarily separate the channels as well. You got to remember on like if you drop a 2.4 device on a mixed network, it's going to bring everything down. And so while you might not be saturating the bandwidth of the AP, the connections, if you have enough of like IoT devices, someone's got an older iPad or something that's on a 2.4 network and such, it can slow every single device on your network down. Again, if you're using older equipment. So, but yeah, I mean, a 1 gig connection. I mean, that's what I have for my house, and I got a lot of things on it. What limits me is my upload with stupid cable company.
yeah,
Um, but But then again, I mean, it is. You can overwhelm it with just sheer number of devices on one AP. I mean, we see that we actually have to, at the college, put in more access points so that we can focus it down to, one classroom. And in bigger classrooms, we even have to then say, okay, put two APs in there to serve the two sides, just because you get too many connections on one, and it's going to flood one uplink
yeah, but
channel
that's
that
a
can also
classroom
slow
with
down.
like the potential of having 30 devices with heavy usage. I just don't see it in a
Well,
residential setting.
they don't necessarily need to have heavy usage if they're all doing just. I mean, you
Yeah, but
just
I mean, yeah,
the
but you
connections in the.
still the number of devices that's supporting though is just to me. I don't. I mean, I guess if you got the money and you just want to do it, I mean, by all means. But I've never had a problem with it. So
Well, but you also segment your network a bit. So I'm just saying
yeah, and I don't
there
have
are
any.
ways
And
that
I
just
also prioritize devices like this computer right here has network priority on my network. Like I've allocated, like I think it's 100 gigs minimum to this machine. Right? Or, yeah, no, it's 100 megs minimum. So it don't matter what is running in my network. If it's if somebody's like machine is updating to the cloud or whatever, it's gonna push that back and throttle that down, and it's gonna maintain whatever. I don't remember what I said it at. It's gonna maintain that throughput for my machine. So if you have network priority and all that kind of stuff on a router, and you set it up right, I just don't see overpowering it, especially if it's my money. Now, if it was the state's money or the city's money or whatever, and they wanted it, then whatever. But yeah, me personally, for a residential, I wouldn't. Like I said, you can because you can tier out your priority stuff. You could have like a priority 1, priority 2, priority 3, or you can do like a dedicated priority for how much bandwidth you want your device to have. Like the TVs, if you want to make absolutely sure, like if you got kids, like if you got 3 kids and you want to make sure your TV gets priority over theirs, you can stack the priorities and categorize the network to where theirs is further down the priority list. I mean, there's so many ways to mitigate having to throw money at it, in my opinion. But I use a bunch of TP-Link stuff and have for 5 or 6 years, and it's about as cheap as you can get. But I don't use the cheapest TP-Link. Let me put it that way. But I use TP-Link stuff, and it runs fine. What we got? What we got? Let's see. Trying to scroll through these comments and get caught up. I got behind. Everybody's talking about the leather. Leather stinks. If you're looking for a good dark engraving, you can manipulate it with a UV, but UV is going to be the least of your dark engravings on leather, on real leather.
Maui's asking, what's the most cost-effective Xtool CO2 laser? Well, it basically, yeah, they've got the P2S and the P3 basically right now. So the P2S, unless you can find a good deal on a used one, and unless you really need the extra working area, or maybe some extra cutting area, the P2S is probably going to be all you really need.
Yeah. Jake Briley says, Steve, what happened to your own tech? You not have room for it, or did you not like it? He still got a couple of ohm techs in there.
Wow, something's holding it up. I was gonna move the camera, but the cable isn't.
Let me put my bill plate back.
There we go. No, it is. Let's see if that'll bring it up. It's right there. And then I still have the polar light over on the other side of me as well. I just had to work on a few other things for a bit here. But I do want to play around with rotary options. I think I might be able to make a Chuck rotary work with it, and then I want to kind of see how it does compared to others. And then with that knowledge, I may also try that in the polar light to see if for people looking in that budget laser line that would like that option to test that as well. But yeah, no, it's still here. Just had to kind of put it off the side while I got the Onefinity assembled and had promised to do a video on the IKEA Master with at least the Chuck rotary. So just moving some things around. Excited to do more with it. It's definitely if you need some fast engraving, getting into that RF world is definitely something to look at. There we go. There's the answer. You need 0 subscribers to live stream from a computer, but you need 50 to live stream from a mobile device. So I knew there was something.
Yeah. Well, y'all talking about the bandwidth and everything. There's my fiber connection. That's my 916.43 down and 938.9 up. That is while I am streaming. So, yeah. And if you didn't notice it, the ping's 5 milliseconds. No,
is that from your computer or your router?
No, this is the ping from this computer right here.
Okay.
This is the top screen of my computer that I'm on right now.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
This is speedtest.net. So I had a little bit of a bottleneck for a little while with some stuff I had out here that I was using some old equipment that I had that was not, it was just 10100. It wasn't gigabit compatible. And it was just a switch that went from over there at my shop router. I've got a switch over there. And then when it comes to this table here, underneath this table, there's another switch because my file server's got two NICs in it. So it's got a total of four uh, output, like it's got four Ethernet connections in it. You can set the NICs to where one's up and one's down to maximize your throughput if you need to. And then I've also got my main workstation over here as well. So that's five ports that I have to have under this table right here to hook everything up. If I'm going to use both the NICs, which typically I just run one because it's like that's plenty of bandwidth for what I do. Because unless I had two networks running parallel, I don't know that running two NICs is going to help me on my little network I got built out here. But it does a good job.
Phoenix Laser Creations is asking, have either used a 3D scanning app on your phone to get an accurate shape for laser cutting or engraving? I have not.
No, I saw where they have some apps that uses the LiDAR or whatever that's built into the iPhones, but I've never played with them. I've got a couple of 3D scanners that I've tried to use, and I've used them, and they work, but it's really not something I do a lot of. I've decided that I'm not taking any more 3D scanners because I just don't use them. It's just too easy for me to draw it up. But while I'm sitting here thinking about it, this part that I did printed on my X2D, everybody keeps asking about the X2D versus the P2S. This is why the X2D excels. Is that was this is my supports, and they just pop right out, right there. So that is what makes it different. And then that is the support interface layer is right there. So that's why I love this X2D for parts like this. Love it, love it, love it. Do.
Yeah, Brian, I think I'm about hitting my limit. I touched on it earlier, but the the cable company actually also sent me an email, or I got they didn't even send me an email. I just got my bill, and it was up $10 more per month. And I had talked with them. They had sent an email like months ago saying, "Oh, as a valued customer, we have some deals for you to save money." And I'm like, "All right, I'll just see what they're going to do." And of course, they want me to bundle TV or wireless or whatnot. And I'm like, "No, I'm happy with my current service." But I will tell you that I have company A over here who's offering me twice the bandwidth you are download and like 10 times the bandwidth upload for about $40 less a month. And like, well, okay, there's nothing we can do about that. Like, well, you're not really making me feel like a highly valued customer. That the only way I'm valued is if I spend more money with you. So, yeah, I may be contacting them here. I got to check. One of my friends has them, and he's pretty happy with them. I think he can get like a little referral thing, so I might see if he's got a link and he wants to send my way and get that scheduled up.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it was a $10 increase, and even the normal rate after the promo rate is still like $30 cheaper a month, and I'll have twice the download bandwidth and just gobs of upload bandwidth I don't currently have.
Yeah. Stephen Tucker says, well, watching you guys inspired me to go ahead and start a small business. Got my LLC set up this weekend. Thank you for all you're doing to educate people. Well, we appreciate it. Like I said, it's a big step. It's intimidating. I will say this: if nothing else, having an LLC is great for tax time because it gives you opportunities to claim exemptions for some of your expenses associated with running a business. That's the biggest. That's the biggest thing that I, doing it as a hobby, did not realize until the first year that I actually filed taxes as a business. It does make a lot of difference. At first it's really not worth the expense, but then once you start getting to a certain point, it gets to where it makes more sense to do it. And I don't know how much money you spent setting up your LLC or whatever the case may be, but Make sure you keep up with all your expenses on that. Get you a good software or a good spreadsheet or something, because you're going to need to know all these things come tax time to get
I,
the full benefit.
I mean, I don't. I find it's more of you can add a layer of protection, because you can actually specify business assets versus personal. But as far as I know, is if you're doing a sole proprietor LLC, they're both like pass through to your personal income. So I don't.
You can claim expenses and you don't have to pay the taxes on the revenue.
You can still do that as a sole proprietor, though.
You well, yeah, you could, but I've always done it as like when I worked in law enforcement, we did side jobs. I would claim, certain expenses. But to me, when you get it to where you separate it and you segregate things, in my mind, especially since I have a software now that tracks my incoming and outgoing expenses, it just makes things so much easier and so much cleaner for me because there's things that that before I never claimed. I never kept up with it. I never tracked it. Like I would go buy a bunch of lumber and just pay for it out of my family checking account,
Right.
and,
Well,
and it just never got claimed. But when I
that's the difference
separated
is
my
if you're
expenses,
doing a legit business, whether it's a sole proprietor or LLC, you need to keep those books separate.
yeah,
I'm not wanting to give people. I mean,
yeah.
it's
I
more about
mean,
the protecting your
yeah,
personal
the liability
assets
part
from
of
a
it
business.
definitely is an advantage, but like I said, I did all of mine at the same time. So to me, all of that kind of went as one. Like I went from it being a hobby, and the money that I used was just money that I had pocketed from doing stuff for people the week before, and I went from that to having an LLC, EINs, domains, web hosting, like all of the things at one time, and it made a big difference in my tax situation because I started tracking it better than what I was when it was just me doing it as a hobby. It made a big difference for me on that part.
Yeah.
So, and
I'm,
it may not be that way for everybody, but for me that was the
the
biggest
key is
thing that helped me along.
you got to track your expenses and your income in either one to take advantage of
Yeah,
those tax breaks. But the protection it offers you uh, is really kind of what you're getting at for setting up the business. Unless you start getting multi-member and having to do salaries and all that stuff,
yeah,
then it's kind of a whole different level.
yeah. I don't want any of that. I don't want any part of salaries or employees. I dealt with enough employees in my future and my previous endeavors.
uh, Bun Smith's asking Eufy Maker E1 versus X-Tool Omni. Why is the Eufy max height difference 2 millimeters? And I believe Omni won't care and can differentiate any difference within reason. I don't know. Wondering if anybody knows. Uh, I don't. I'm not. So I'm not sure of any special black magic the Omni might have. The Eufy, it has to do with at what point it needs to be close enough to the print head, and it's not doing an adaptive movement with the z-axis. It
Just
measures the
straight.
height and it stays there. I don't know if the Omni can map a surface and know when it's at a certain spot to move up and down like some of the other X tool lasers have been doing. That would be the only thing that would make a difference, because the print head has to be within a certain distance to be able to print with any quality. Otherwise, you start getting that kind of faded, like overspray look.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like I said, the Omni, they talk a good game, but I haven't seen it. So, and I don't know for sure that I am. I was told that I am, but I don't know for sure. But dun, 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 dun.
There you go. Rob Wilson is offering you a little bit of a bootlegging deal. He'll offer you the Menards trail mix if you get the Bucky mints.
There's not a but. The nearest Bucky's to me is a couple of hours away, if I'm not mistaken. I think
Well,
it's the
sounds
one he's talking about in No, Athens is down south. This one was up above. It was this one was like it wasn't Gadsden, but it was up. It was up close to Gadsden. Is where the other one was that we stopped at. I didn't even know it was there. That exit, that interstate exit, was nothing last time we came through there, and then all of a sudden there's a Buc-ee's there.
Brian says he's not sure about Mankato, but where I live, the town of 1,900 people, there are 4 or 5 companies offering internet and at least 3 or 2 fiber. So that was part of that. I think it was part of the Build Back Better. There was a lot of incentives for more rural development of broadband, and it kind of flipped the tables on, metropolitan and small city areas having the benefits too. There were a lot more rural offerings spun up. Now I've been seeing some also shut down recently, but yeah, it's been funny where I talk to some people that are in kind of smaller communities where they actually have more options than I have. Um we basically have 2, if you want, like wired, so like they don't even offer DSL anymore because the local telco switched to this fiber option, but they've got Spectrum with the cable internet, and then of course you've got some um like T-Mobile will offer their 5G wireless, and then of course Starlink as well. But yeah, we don't have as many options here in a greater metropolitan area of about 50,000 people as some small towns. That's,
Yep. Jared says, Clack, you guys should get the Hey Gears printer instead of X Tool. It looks cool and better than both. I don't know. What is it? Hey Gears and Morphos? I think I got
Morpho looks
emails.
interesting.
Yeah, I got emails from both. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Morpho one looks more interesting than any of them on the market, and I
Yeah, that
like
one
the
has the fillable tanks instead of the cartridges for one thing.
yeah, and it had the what was it the scanning, like where you could like 3D scan with it and then print. Like you could
Hmm.
literally 3D scan a part and then replicate it with the machine and print it, like using the UV printer. It was pretty cool. They sent me a brochure with some specs and stuff like that. I looked it over. The companies, when they send me an email, I reply back to them with my ethics, my review policy, basically. If you go to my website, clackshack.com, and look for review policy up in the top little bar, that is my policy on doing reviews. And when people reach out to me, I tell them, yes, your product looks interesting, or no, I'm not interested, whatever. But when I reply back, I tell them that this is my review policy. And as long as you're good with what is in the policy, then we can discuss it further. And a lot of companies, I don't hear back from them after I send them that policy. So I don't know if this just, I didn't make the cut. I don't know what the circumstances behind it is, but a lot of times they don't reach back out to me after I send them my policy. And I sent these guys my policy, and I haven't heard back. So I don't know. Maybe my channel wasn't big enough, or you never know. But yeah, but I did get an email about some different ones, and there was another one from Longer. Longer actually offered to take me to China last year, right before, wasn't it right before CES, or it was right before Christmas? That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go, but that's what they were trying to get me to go over there to look at where they were making their UV printer, which I haven't seen it yet. I guess it flopped or hasn't came out yet. But yeah, but no, like I said, if they want to send them to me, they can. Me and Steve are both open to work with any company. We're not sold out or signed up with contracts to anybody. But a lot of these companies, like I said, when they look at my review policy, I don't hear back from them. So I don't know if it's that or if it's, like I said, it may be that my channel didn't meet the criteria for what they wanted. I don't know. But I'm not pursuing them. They pursue me. So
In in any case, you're looking at UV printers, just really do your research on what they can do and their limitations as far as ink life, print head life, maintenance around them. They, they're not an item you want to have just sit around not kind of recouping its investment. If you're doing this as a hobby, it's a very expensive toy. If you're doing it for business, you need to keep it busy. It's not like a laser you can kind of turn off and come back to.
Yeah, it's
you know,
using
later.
consumables
It's
just sitting there.
and there's, you know, those print heads, the print heads, like a lot of them are using the same one. They are not a industrial print head, and they do not warranty them for very long. They are a consumable, and they're not cheap. So it's a very cool technology, and if you can recoup some cost on it, it's worth it. But it's a it's going to be a very expensive toy if you can't keep it busy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like a saw or a laser to where you can just power it off and let it sit. It's using resources and it's potentially damaging itself just sitting there. I've been fortunate with mine so far, but I used it today and I was like, let's see if this thing's going to work, you know. It's like but it works.
Yeah. Glenn Smith says they did order the Omni One, but I stay busy printing the Eufy 2 times a day when I get up in bedtime. Yeah, I mean, as long as you can keep it busy, you keep that ink going through it. But even so, I mean, eventually the print head's going to wear out, and so that's going to be, you know, there are some options with some of them for replacement parts and such. But yeah, it's not like an inkjet where you go and buy a $25-50 cartridge and it has everything in part of it. There's the ink cartridges, there's the tubing, there's the print head. All of that can get gummed up. And then with the self cleaning, if the cleaning tank decides to spring a leak, now you got corrosive chemicals that will eat the printer shell itself and other parts. So it's a very cool technology, but just know what you're getting into.
Yep. Brian, my wife was afraid they wouldn't let me come back, so she wasn't up for me going. But I had two companies. I don't know if the airline over there was having trouble filling seats or what that week because I had two companies within a week of each other. Both of them asked me to come over there, and I'm like, what is going on? But then I haven't had one ask since. So, but yeah, it was like I think maybe they just needed some, you know, needed an influx of tourists that week or something. I don't know, but but I sure did. I had two companies within a week ask me. So
Anyway, coming up on, well, we just passed 2 hours. So if you had a burning
cool.
question and
Yep.
want to ask it and we missed it, ask it again. I'll hang out for just a little bit more, but some of us do have to report to work tomorrow morning,
I know
not
it. I
in
got
our
to be
shop.
back out here sometime in the morning.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you, I saw somebody at the store the other day, and they were like, "You ready to go back to work?" I was like, "Well, I never quit work. I still work. I just retired from that other job that I have. I keep this one." So, Rob Wilson said, "Clark, I think I like your draw. My draw, like you talking about the way I talk." Steve doesn't.
It's 6 p.m. here in Alaska. That's a state I'd love to come visit.
I would
Fly me there instead of China.
love to be in Alaska certain times of the year. Certain times of the year, I'd hate it, but
Well, it depends on what part of Alaska.
yeah, there was one time during my career that Alaska State Police were paying just crazy amounts of like incentives, like housing costs, yearly per diems, all these kind of things to try to recruit. And I thought about it, but then I was like, the only bad thing is they wouldn't let me come up there just for the spring and summer. They would want me to stay over winter, and I just don't know that me and winter in Alaska would get along real well. So I
Like
didn't. I didn't go.
it depends on what part of Alaska. Some parts of Alaska stay warmer than Minnesota.
Yeah, but you know how them state jobs are. Nobody wants to be on the north side of the state, so that's where they're going to stick you until you get some seniority, and then you got to like apply to move south. And yeah, so I was
Well,
like, no, thank you.
well,
I do plan on
fine.
one day, I do want to go up there at least visit.
Take the Alaska Highway, make it a real adventure. That's what I'd like to do. Go up through
Yeah,
the Canadian Rockies and all that.
yeah. If only, if only I could. I had a friend of ours from here. They took their camper. They did that, and they took a camper, and they were gone 2 or 3 months. But they went cross country up through Canada all the way to Alaska, and then spent some time, and then turned around and came back. I was like, that's an adventure right there. But they were, I said that was their bucket list thing, and they did it.
Hmm. Well, just find an excuse to go, I guess. I had a friend who went up there and worked for a few years, and I really should have flown up to visit him while he was there. But
Brian said Sitka, Alaska is normally warmer than Minnesota in the winter.
yeah, I'm telling you, it's
That's why I don't go to Minnesota in the winter. I went up there in the summer and almost had to bring some pants with me in the summertime.
oh well, you timed it pretty well.
Like
You
we
you got
got me,
some.
even my 15-year-old was like, "Daddy, I'm not sweating," and we've been walking for like an hour. And it was like, I know, baby, it's weird. Like you could walk places outside and not be wet when you get there. Like it's not, you're not just pouring sweat. And then we get back home from that trip, and we were in the car. We were out up there. We stayed in the car. You know, got back home. Everybody got out of the car, and all three or four of us was soaking wet, just getting our luggage out of the car, getting it in the house. And I was like, we're back in Alabama for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I do have a question, legit question.
Uh oh.
Duck Wood Designs asking, I just got the Prover 2x2 and I have to make it mobile. Do you think it's feasible to attach a leg kit directly to the frame similar to the Onefinity? You
By mobile, do you mean
yeah.
like inside your shop? You just want to roll it
It,
around, or
if you're wanting to, if you need to, like, as long as if it can stay flat but you need to move it, yeah, you could put it on some heavy casters, or maybe like the drop down feet that flip up to casters, things like that. You can definitely make it mobile that way. As far as something that you fold up, it's
he
heavy.
said he said take it to
it's
demos.
it's I would say it's heavier than your typical Onefinity.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
Okay,
bring
you
a
want to take it to
friend.
demos. I mean, it's not light. So
Hmm.
I think it's close to 300 pounds assembled. So not impossible, but
Bring a friend.
I when when my friend took possession of the one I've got for playing around with it, we used there were three of us moving it into the back of the van. So yeah, it's
198.4 pounds for the Prover XL 2 foot by 2 foot.
okay. It's 109. Okay, so
The
200
four
pounds.
by four is 330.
There we go. Yeah, I some ingenuity on there. You could make it mobile, but it's probably not a one person move.
Mm-mm.
It's you know
Unless you could make it into like a set of hand trucks, where it folds into a set of hand trucks, maybe.
yeah. I mean it's pretty stout, so I wouldn't worry about it getting damaged unless you really dropped it. But like being able to fold it up and such. I mean, I think you probably could, but it's not going to be light. It's going to be I don't know. You're going to need some way of the maneuvering is going to be interesting without like a ramp or some sort of like mechanical lift kind of thing to move it around some. But it's definitely, if you build it right, you could. The only other thing is, I think it has some feet. If I remember right, there's some feet that get screwed onto the bottom of the frame. If you maybe use those as anchor points onto something, and bolt it onto a frame, that you could probably figure out some sort of like fold up hand truck kind of thing. Yeah, but
What's those? I had one that my chop saw was on for a little while. They make those little fold up. It's like it turns your chop saw into a hand truck. maybe with enough engineering, maybe you could make something like that work. I don't know how it would be as far as stability once you got it to where you was going. But if you, as long as you're not running any programs that are real fast to get it to rocking too bad, you should be okay.
You got one of these.
Yeah, yeah, that thing. That's a little wider than the one that I had, but yeah, that something like that. Maybe if you had one of those, like you could bolt it to that, and that would like convert into a table. Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other side folds up as well.
But it's the 24 by 24 work area machine. What was the overall dimensions? So you're looking at, it's going to be substantially wider. So hauling it's going to be, overall dimensions is 3'8" by 3.75. So yeah. So you're looking at almost 4 foot by 4 foot square. Mercy. But now the good thing is that little contraption you got right there is pretty sturdy because if it holds that, I know how heavy that planer is because I got one of them.
I thought you were going to say you know how heavy that head is.
Well, that too. But yeah, I think something like that would be about the only option that because you still got to transport it. And I'll be honest with you, as wide as it is, you might have to take two of those and put them together. You know what I mean? Like double it.
Or replicate the design where it folds
Yeah.
out and such. But yeah, because yeah, that's not exactly a lightweight planer for this stuff. And that was supposed to be a table or a chop saw cart, but it's been converted into a planer cart.
Yeah. Huh. Sure. All right, got one more question right here. Jerry Richmond said, "Have either of y'all tried to add a red dot pointer laser to the OMTech Polar using a mirror system like Mass Effect's one?" I actually have a video of that very same, like, of the Mass Effect laser being installed on my Polar Plus that I had. And I'll drop you a link to it. But yeah, I bought one and installed it, put it in. It's still working. My buddy Billy's got the machine now. He's using it at his shop. Matter of fact, he's been doing tumblers on it lately. But I installed the red dot, and I'm pretty sure it was the one from Mass Effects. Let me see what the website is. Yeah, masseffects.com, Polar red dot. So yeah, that is the very one. Well, did my comment? Yeah, it went. That is the very one you're asking about, and it works. It was pretty simple. Some 3D printed parts. A couple of wires had to be connected to the board, but nothing too bad. So there's the video if you want to go check it out there, Jerry. That is the very same. The Polar Plus is a little different than the standard Polar, but that part of the machine is the same.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, we are at 2 hours and 13 minutes. So, any last words or anything?
No. Go check out my video on the tumblers with the Master IKEA. Give that video some love. And you dropped something just this afternoon, right?
Yeah, it was just a little like 3D printed name tag with UV printed text, basically. Yeah. Some more of the name tags that I've been making. I made another batch of them for a youth organization here in town, and yeah.
Yeah, go.
And if anybody wants to, I do have a link I'm gonna share, and I don't do this often. And if it wasn't for a good cause, I wouldn't be doing it now. But I think, did we both drop a link at the same time?
I didn't.
No. Oh, it looks like is the link just that long? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, what did you share?
Oh God, that is somebody needs to shorten their link. But anyway, I think that link is probably broken and it's too long because it put it in two different boxes. So what I will do though is I will share to you guys this link to my Facebook page. Maybe it's short enough. But anyway, my daughter's band is doing this little thing. If you eat pizza from Domino's and you want like a little gift card or whatever, and you want to help out her band, feel free to do that. They are doing a fundraiser, and she gets credit, and it will track it to say that it came from Emily. So if you want to support them, feel free. If you don't put yourself out. No big deal. But if you eat Domino's pizza, my wife says the coupons are actually pretty handy anyway. She's got a bunch of them. But it's to support my daughter's band. I shared it on my Facebook page, and that's a link to my Facebook page where I shared it. If you want to do it because they're wrapping it up. But those kids in the band, it's a small school, and band does not get any help from the school board. I mean, maybe some of our school officials are watching, but football, baseball, basketball, all those things, they get things like new gymnasiums and stuff like that. The band, it's pathetic what they get. So us parents end up providing most of that, and so yeah. So if you want to donate, feel free. Go get you a pizza card or donate or whatever. If not, I appreciate it anyway. Because I don't, like I said, I don't ask very often, but it is for a good cause, and it's for kids. So,
And if you
trust
want to
me.
donate to the Build Jiminy Cricket a new fund, my Venmo is at Vintari.
Yeah,
No, I was in both band and orchestra growing up, and those groups don't always get as much love. So yeah, if you're buying
yeah.
pizza,
Well,
help a band,
yeah. Well, see, I
kid
pull the
group out.
trailer like everywhere they go. When they go to an event, they go to a concert, they go to a competition, they go wherever they go. I pull the trailer. There's a couple of other parents that will occasionally pull it, but last year I think I pulled it to every event. And then of course I end up filling in the gap if the band needs something. You know, the business will make donations to the band and help them out and stuff like that. And some of the kids, to be honest with you, some of the kids' parents, if it was left to the parents to pay it, the kids wouldn't be able to participate in the band. And so that's the way I look at it. If it's a family that the kid wants to participate but can't necessarily come up with the funds, then the Clack Shack sometimes may throw a little extra money in there to pay for somebody's dues. So I do what I can to support it, and I wouldn't ask you guys to support it if I wasn't already doing it myself. So there you go. But if you don't want to, or if you can't, I completely understand. Money can be an obstacle for people. But if you do have it and you find it in your heart, then feel free. There's a link right there to my Facebook page. I don't know what happened with that other link. So, but yeah, but that's it. Like I said, they're fixing to be wrapping it up, and so I told my wife they hadn't reached their goal yet, and so I told her I would try to help, get them to the goal at least for what they wanted to try to get, because it does. I know the instructor, the teacher, me and Brandy have been helping her try to get grants and stuff like that to get some new equipment. We got a grant from the power company here last year for them, and they bought some new like music stands and some other things. So we do what we can to try to help. Like I said, it's one of those programs that doesn't get the support as others, like the football. All the money that comes in from the gates at the football teams and stuff like that. It doesn't go to the band. So, but anyway, that's my one ask for the. I don't know how long we've been doing this. I haven't asked much, but yeah, there you go. That's it. That's all I got. But yeah, I did drop a video if you want to go check it out about 3D printing some name tags. So
I just put the clean link in there for you.
oh, did you clean it up?
Yeah.
I copied it. I just
Facebook always adds all their tracking crap to it. So.
Okay. But yeah. But that's it. If y'all want to do it, like I said, I appreciate you. And you don't gotta, but the kids will appreciate it as well. But that's it. That's all I got for tonight. More stuff coming. I've been a little busy. Hadn't been in the shop as much. I've been trying to exercise. I don't know if y'all can tell it or not, but I've been doing better. I'm down about. I was doing a lot better, and then after all this bike riding, I think I'm starting to put on muscle. But I've kind of leveled out right now at like 222 from where I was like 245 not long ago. So yeah. So I've been doing better on that. Been doing a lot of bike riding and trying out the e-bikes and stuff on the other channel. So if you hadn't checked that out, go over to the Claykleys and check that out. Hopefully I'll be healthier and extend my life expectancy because, being in law enforcement, they say if you do 25 years in law enforcement, you can deduct 10 from your expected life expectancy. And so I'm trying to get those 10 years back. So, anyway, that's all I got.
Yeah.
Steve, cricket. Does the cricket have anything to say?
No, I think I scared the other one. It's been quiet. So,
Mercy.
no, thanks everyone. We'll see you around next week. Otherwise, hopefully, we'll have some other content out this week. So, appreciate all the support on those. Make sure you watch those channels, hit those like buttons, drop a comment. That all helps everything. And we'll be back again next week for 193, right? Yeah.
Yes, I think you said this was 192. So yeah. Yeah. Brian, no, throttle only does not count. I ran pedal assist 2 the other day, biggin. Pedal assist 2, 25 miles.
Yeah, I don't even. I'm in a couple groups for like the electric bikes, and there was a funny thing where people were like complaining about the thumb throttle, and they said, my hand cramps up after a while, and they want to switch to a twist throttle, and I'm like,
use the pedals.
I don't even use the throttle.
Yeah, well, that's one. So me and Bill, Bill's been going ride with me, and guys, I'm gonna brag on Bill for a minute. Bill had to have a hernia surgery not long ago. He's had some struggles with his weight in recent years, and he was really heavy. He went from like 350 down to like 305 to have his surgery because they would not do the surgery until he lost some weight. And me and Bill have been friends since middle school, and so he got a surgery done, and then I needed some encouragement to try to get back into shape, and so did he. So we've been kind of trying to encourage each other. And he's been coming over here, and when we go for rides, he'll swap bikes. So like he rode the electric one time, he's rode the Jason the other time, and both times, of course, I've got the advantage because I'm 100 pounds lighter than he is. but we have been doing some testing on the ranges and stuff, and I am happy to report that that's what he was telling me the other day. He's like, I used the throttle on some of those really big hills. He's like, but I for the most part, I pedaled. And it's like me and him was talking. People were like, oh, it's not real exercise. When we got back, both of us kind of walked a little funny when we first got off the bikes because our legs were jelloed a little bit, and we were pouring sweat. If that's not real exercise, I don't know what is.
Yeah,
because it is intense. It's as intense as you want it to be. So anyway. That's my rant. All these purists. It's not real woodworking if you use a CNC. And now it's not real exercise if you use an e-bike. So, but anyway, we'll see y'all later. I might try to do a little pop-up this week. Maybe. If I get lucky.
All right. Well, see y'all guys next week. Thanks.
Later.